Over the last 2 weeks, the 2019 budget was presented to the National Assembly, first for debate and then for consideration of the estimates before being passed unanimously. On this week's InfoHub In-Depth, we take a look at interventions these monies will cater for in some of the ministries.
Dogs again, and no mailbox.
Don't let this happen to you.
I'm so happy that I get this mailbox. Now I get an arm of mails. You know how much times GPL come and disconnect me life because I couldn't get my bill? I didn't notice. Anyways, girl, the post office encouraging all residents to install a mailbox so they can improve their service to us.
Get your mailbox today and help the Guyana Post Office to serve you better.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan, during his budget presentation, announced an increase to the income tax threshold of $780,000, representing a 30% increase since the coalition government assumed office in 2015. According to the Finance Minister, the increase will see some $805 million being returned to taxpayers.
In addition, Mr. Speaker, the wages and salaries of public servants will be increased in 2019 after discussions with the respective unions. It is our hope that a multi-year package can be concluded and that progressively improves workers' income to a livable wage over a defined period.
Minister Jordan said since entering office, the coalition government has made tax reform a top priority. He noted that the previous 4 budgets contained a wide range of tax measures that are designed to promote economic growth and to build a sustainable revenue base for government.
The 2019 budget measures build on the success to date by targeting production, incomes, and exports. At the same time, they support the strengthening of some weak areas, including the closing of loopholes and the simplification of business processes.
Other measures in the 2019 budget include proposals in support of the government's green agenda, exemptions for remigrants, exemptions for public officials or officers, old-age pensioners and persons living with disabilities, and measures in support of the private sector, among others.
Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin projected that Guyana will accumulate some $150 million from the tourism sector in 2019, a prospect he said will be great for the country.
Addressing the National Assembly on the first day of the budget debate on December 3, Minister Gaskin said that figure does not include airfares or the taxes applied to airfares. Guyana has seen a 17% increase in visitors as of September 2018 compared to the same period last year. He said this is good news for Guyana as visitors bring along with them money that is pumped into the economy.
Visitors have to eat, sleep, travel around town or the country, and each of these activities costs money and employs Guyanese people.
According to Minister Gaskin, for the additional 30,000 visitors arriving in Guyana this year means that an additional US $15 million is circulating within the country. He said the increase in visitors to Guyana over the last year is testimony to the important role the tourism sector is playing in Guyana's economic development.
So what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is that apart from gold and rice, tourism brings in the highest amount of foreign earnings into Guyana's economy. And this amount is growing every year at a handsome rate.
He said the government realizes the importance of this sector and its capacity to create and sustain employment, and also the need to develop Guyana's tourism product to keep up with the increasing visitor arrivals. From the $2.65 billion allocated to the Ministry of Business for 2019, the Guyana Tourism Authority and the Department of Tourism will receive $305 million and $93 million Guyana dollars respectively.
Meanwhile, Minister of Education Nicolette Henry said that the education revolution started by the coalition government is alive and well.
According to Minister Henry, there is no doubt that the coalition government has been moving above and beyond to ensure the sector, which has been allocated the largest budget for the new fiscal year, serve all of Guyana's children.
In less than 4 years, we have rolled out real programs such as the 5Bs initiative. We have expanded school feeding, we have improved school services to include psychosocial support and introduce technology-enabled learning in a real way.
According to Minister, the sector was in crisis when it was taken over by the administration.
The performance of the nation's children at the national and regional examinations served as a clear indicator. In 2014, the national grade 6 assessment results were appalling as previous years for which I have seen the data. 23% of our students were passing English, 25 of them mathematics, 37 social studies, and 23 science. In 3 short years, we have seen incremental improvements, and this year we were able to record 60% pass rate in English, and similar improvements were recorded in other subject areas.
The minister also addressed what she said were some inaccuracies proffered by opposition members during the course of the debate. She spoke of the attack by the opposition on the distribution of textbooks, the strike action by teachers, and cash vouchers. She also addressed the ministry's undertaking of the curriculum reform.
The proposed $38.5 billion allocated to the Ministry of Public Infrastructure for its current and capital expenditure for 2019 was approved by the Committee of Supply. The monies granted will enhance the ministry's policy development and administration, as well as public works and transport.
One critical project that will be funded from the allocated sum is the relaunching of a new expression of interest of the new Demerara River crossing at a cost of $100 million. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Paterson told the National Assembly that the sum will be used for the consultancy services for the relaunching of the EOI for the new crossing.
So the government of Guyana will be relaunching the expression of interest for the new Demerara River crossing based on these requirements: a high-level bridge with a minimum of 4 lanes, navigational clearance, a minimum of 70 meters, reinforced concrete construction. So this allocation is the procurement of services for technical experts in engineering, financing, environmental to review the proposals to maximize the benefits and also to advise the government on the way forward and the next steps on the public procurement process. Expertise will provide skill transfer, a local public procurement core team that will facilitate in institutional capacity building. Sir, we are the relaunching of the bids will be done with the assistance of the CDB, who has an expert in public procurement, public-private partnerships. Thank you. And we will be launching it, and obviously the consultancies, when the bid is launched, there will be various aspects in it, and we will procure the relevant consultants to ascertain and recommend which is the best bid for us to proceed forward.
A portion of the funds will also provide the purchase of fuel to supply 24 hours of electricity to Kokwani, Minister Paterson added.
It is for not only fuel, sir, it is also, there are also other costs. This KUI, Kokwani Utilities Inc. are in charge of not only electricity, water, sanitation, several other, all the utilities in Kokwani. So this money here caters for that for 24 hours in 2019.
Kokwani Utility Incorporated is managed by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure's Hinterland Electrification Company Incorporated, which ensures hinterland communities have an adequate power supply. Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, said other works are in the pipelines to improve the provision of electricity in the hinterlands.
Installation of a 400 kilowatt solar PV farm at Mabaruma, that's in region number 1. Installation of a metal lattice tower to support electricity distribution lines across the Port Kaituma River, $20 million Guyana dollars. Extension of the distribution network at Mokamaka and residents within the proximity of Rodo Ground in region number 9. And upgrade distribution for the two will cost $20 million Guyana dollars.
HECI was allocated the sum of $233.5 million to ensure continuity and support of its socio-economic development plan.
The National Drainage and Irrigation Authority will take over primary drainage in the capital city as more than $17 billion was approved for capital and current spending by the Ministry of Agriculture in 2019.
Minister of Agriculture Noel Holder said the decision follows recommendations made by a cabinet subcommittee which recommended the change in how drainage is managed in the capital city and coastal Guyana.
Of not only the declared but the undeclared drainage and irrigation areas to NDIA, and also for the primary drainage in the Georgetown area, which means that come January the 1st, if the budget is approved, of course, the NDIA will be possible for all the main canals to ensure that there's no, and the outfall channels are cleaned by the cokers.
In addition, Minister Holder says part of the agency's capital budget will see the acquisition and installation of mobile pumps to alleviate flooding around the city.
And when the pumps coming from India, 4 mobile pumps will be allocated to Georgetown. The internal ward drainage will be the responsibility of the Mayor and City Council. But certainly, prime drainage will be NDI's responsibility, and you should see a tremendous improvement in the drainage of Georgetown and hopefully the entire coastal area commencing 2019.
The Committee of Supplies of the National Assembly approved more than $17 billion for the 2019 capital and current expenditure of the Ministry of Agriculture. Among the agencies which have received approval are the Fisheries Department, the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, NARI, and Hydrometeorological Department.
The rehabilitation of the prisons in all 3 counties, particularly the Camp Street prison, will be realized in 2019 following the allocation of $35.6 billion to the Ministry of Public Security.
Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjitan, said that a consultancy design was prepared for the reconstruction of the Camp Street prison.
It is not going to be a complete building, as it were, if I could explain it. We are dealing here with a company out of America that has provided steel cell prisons for a number of countries in the Caribbean and Latin America. And it is a cell modular kind of arrangement whereby you can pack the cells up and go different heights, 2-story, 3-story, whatever, and it will be like that. So it is easily portable too. So if in view of the fact that we now have that and we want to move from Georgetown and go somewhere in Luziknan or Kurukururu or wheresoever we propose our next prison, these steel cells can be easily removable.
Minister Ramjitan also explained that funds were allocated for the capacity building of prison officers.
Also, professionalism that we would have to, by process of continuously training and the leadership of the prison, talking to these ranks, not to do that, and also personal judgment calls made by these officers and ranks. We're going to utilize that $50 million as best as possible to get more professionals in the prison.
Funding for the fight against narcotics is also catered for in the ministry's $35.6 billion budget. The Committee of Supply heard that the money has been allocated to National Anti-Narcotic Agency and the Customs Anti-Narcotic Unit for 2019.
According to Foreign Affairs Minister Carl Greenidge, the $6.8 billion budgetary allocation to his ministry for fiscal year 2018-2019 will facilitate the promotion of Ghana's economic diplomacy and strengthen the country's foreign trade offices.
Money will also go towards programs linked to the International Organization for Migration. Though Guyana is not a member of the UNHCR, the international body collaborates with Guyana on issues regarding migration, with the latest matter being with Venezuelan nationals.
I think during the previous administration, there was a project to work with migrants in which this was documented. There was an agreement to try and work on websites and a number of other things, try to trace them and consult with them with a view to fashioning policy. That is in train. We also have been involved with the IOM in relation to trying to, apart from dealing with a diaspora, trying to formulate a policy specifically in relation to the Venezuelan migrants and also Cuban migrants.
In this year's budget, there was a decrease from $3.7 million in 2018 to zero in 2019 for the CARICOM Observer Mission. Minister Greenwich explains why.
Participation in the observer missions is a function of two things. One is the elections themselves that have been called, and two, those for which CARICOM has agreed they'll participate. Now, in 2019, I believe, and I don't remember exactly, at least one of the missions called for by CARICOM at the level of the foreign ministers, CARICOM together couldn't agree on the participation in that mission. So a limited number of countries participated. And as regards the other elections, I think we were perhaps unable to provide the types of skills that were needed for that team.
The minister also stated that Guyana has a credit brought forward from 2018 to the tune of $16,000 plus US.
During the defense of her ministry's budget reallocation for the new year, Minister of Telecommunications Catherine Hughes told the Committee of Supply the allocation of $4 billion caters for several projects, some of which will be introduced in 2019.
Responding to a question posed by Opposition Member of Parliament Gillian B. Prasad on the $14 million increase on the line item 6284, the Public Telecommunications Minister said the allocation covers an array of expenditures. One such expense provides the rolling out of a data management project in 2019.
The allocations will cater for a pilot project for our records management and the digitization of records, and that's approximately $3 million. Our e-agriculture ICT policy formulation and that program, which is another $3 million. Our ICT policy formulation, which is for persons living with disabilities, $3 million. A project for persons living with disabilities, $3 million. Our marketing initiatives, $5 million. And advertisements, stipend for the ministerial tender board members, the production of some print videos, and also to promote and to explain our ministry and this area.
Other projects under this line item include the e-agricultural formulation project and the ICT for persons living with disabilities project. These, she noted, were also budgeted at $3 million each. The Public Telecommunications budget for 2019 also caters for the funding of continuous projects such as Girls in ICT, Robotics, and Caribbean Telecommunications Union Awareness Program. The ministry will continue to support STEM Guyana as well.
Minister of Public Service Dr. Rupert Roopnarayan says Budget 2018 will prepare the public service to manage a transformed economy starting in 2020.
Defending the approved $1.5 billion, Minister Roopnarayan said that the training opportunities that will be made available to public servants is geared towards building the capacity of the Guyanese workforce.
Were soil mechanics, counseling studies for the MSc, psychology, MSc, mathematics, masters in criminology, the degree of Master of Science in Integrated Petroleum Geoscience, an MSc in Computer Forensics, a Master of Science in Cybersecurity, an MSc in Big Data Analytics, Museum Studies, History of Art, Oil and Gas Management, MSc in Animal Breeding and Genetics, and Cybersecurity and Management.
The Public Service Minister made it clear that training is the only way to adequately equip Guyanese for the future.
It is towards this goal that the lion's share of this year's allocation to my ministry goes towards training and academic scholarships, $1.5 billion, representing a 50% increase over last year's expenditure of $1.08 billion. There's absolutely no other way of ensuring that the interests of citizens are protected.
It has been projected that at the end of 2019, Guyana is expected to be more united, have empowered more young people, provided athletes with state-of-the-art synthetic tracks, and renewed in Guyanese a love of their culture.
The Department of Social Cohesion, Culture, Youth and Sport for 2019 has been granted the sum of $3.3 billion. Of that amount, over $480 million will go towards the continued drive to have a unified country. Harmony Village, Social Cohesion Week, and sensitization outreaches are some of the activities scheduled for the new year. Minister responsible for the department, Dr. George Norton, explains.
Anyone who has not seen it is not looking for it. We will continue to undertake such initiatives using our allocations with the support of corporate Guyana. And I am extremely confident that we are on the right path to achieving a cohesive nation. The Department of Social Cohesion, enabled by Culture, Youth and Sports, would take Guyana to the place where we will be seen as a model for peaceful coexistence, strengthen ties and relations at the community and national level, where Guyanese display a willingness to contribute to nation building, irrespective of our differences.
For youth development, a mammoth sum of $1.7 billion was allocated for the continuation of youth programs and initiatives that commenced in 2018. This includes the Youth Business Summit and the Youth Innovation Fund. Additionally, over $350 million in grants will be made available to young people to establish small businesses through the Ministries of Social Protection and Business. Athletes in Region 10 and 6 before the end of 2019 will have access to state-of-the-art synthetic tracks costing $141 million and $178 million respectively. This will be a major boost to the local athletes in those regions, since currently the only such facility lies in Region 3, Lenora. Further, the sum of $350 million was allocated to sufficiently prepare Guyana to celebrate 50 years as a republic. Minister Norton highlighted that $35 million will be billed to each region for rehabilitation and upgrading of venues for the hosting of national and regional events. Commemorative landmarks will also be constructed across the country for the Jubilee celebration.
This has been InfoHub In-Depth, where we focused on just a few of the initiatives that will be rolled out in the new year following the passing of the 2019 budget in the National Assembly. Thanks for watching, and join us again next week. Goodbye.
Tell. Disclosure is important. Encouraging a partner to test can be life-saving. Disclosing or encouraging a partner to test does not have to be your sole responsibility. Professionals can help.
So, you can call and tell them for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
I will tell. I just need some time.
I am HIV positive.
Don't let your doubts and fears get the best of you. Having the other person know their status is just as important as you knowing yours. Partner testing is not only for the other person, but also for you. Encourage your partners to test and disclose.